taken the bull by the horns and just Madera's going to be better now because you had to deal with all that in the past. So thanks for doing something, not just complaining about it. You're
on.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, kudos.
Okay, Mom. Big shoes.
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Susan Staiani. My husband and I have been residents of Madera County since January of 1981. We're homeowners in North Madera County. Our 3 adult children are also residents of Madera. As I go about my daily business, I can't help but notice the negative changes in Madera, one of which includes the roadside trash. It appears we have lost a generation of people who cared for Madera. We now have a generation with little or no respect for our community. People today no longer care about what they toss out of their car windows or blows out of the back of a pickup or trailer. Madera County has become the dumping ground for anyone who has trash and needs to dispose of it. Now that you have heard my complaint, I would like to work toward a long-term solution. Supervisor David Rogers and I have come up with what we hope will be the start of something good. Our slogan is, "Love where you live." We will be using Love Madera as the catalyst event in order to kick off our new campaign. Our goal is to get the school district in order to educate the children, the students, to love where they live by picking up trash and putting it where it belongs, in the cans. I am looking for ideas and support from the county leaders. We will eventually be taking this to the Madera City Council and Madera Unified School District. Thank you for your time. I could say a lot more, but I only got 3 minutes.
We appreciate that very much. We got the gist, so that's what counts.
One thing I did just recently learn from my granddaughter is, and I text Mr. Dave Rogers about it, is the schools, for whatever reason, when they punish the children, one of the things they have them do is go out onto the school grounds and pick up trash. To them, with us, it used to be something good to do. Oh, go out and pick up trash and put it away, where the school districts are using it as a punishment. And there's something wrong with that picture. It should no longer be used that way.
Should do it, yeah.
And so that was just my last add-on.
Thank you, Susan.
I want to thank you for taking this on. I think it's a great thing. Roadside trash has been an issue that we've grappled with. Mandatory collection is an issue that we have talked about, but that won't solve people throwing trash out of their windows, and I think you've really got something here that needs to be done. I know many years ago there was a campaign in California about litter, and I think it made a big difference, but since then it's kind of gone by the wayside and been lost. And I think just pointing people in the idea of loving where you live is a great idea. And Susan brought this to me, and I also suggested to her that maybe, kids respond to multimedia, and maybe a video, a funny video or something that would get across the point that you wouldn't do this to your bedroom, or you wouldn't do this to your, where you live. So love the rest of where you live, the outdoors, and maybe show them the consequences if you can, in a funny way. And we've got some people at our church that are pretty good with this kind of stuff. So if there's anybody out there with technical expertise on video production and you'd like to help with something like that, you could talk to Susan, and I know she'd be interested in talking with you.
Well, and I realize that the homeless population and stray dogs, don't help. And I don't mean to just blame the residents, oh, you guys, we don't care about what happens, but because stray dogs tear bags open, I've seen that. Crows, I have seen tear bags open, but the thing is nobody's going and picking things up. So, thank you. And I do have information of where I can be reached. Do you want that, or do you want me to just give it later? Or?
You can give that to the clerk. She can read it off. That'd be great.
Okay.
Susan, also, if I could get you hooked up with the Eastern Madera County has a group has been working for over 10 years. They call it COMB, and they have like quarterly cleanups on the roads up there, pick areas, and they do it in all the communities up there. So if you guys get work,
Where's that at?
it's in eastern Madera County,
Oh, okay.
and there's members of it from Corsco, Oakhurst, Sewanee, and North Fork, and they all, most of us women. And I've been to a few of their meetings, and they do a good job. So we can get your contacts. I'll get you in contact with them also.
Okay.
And
It'd be good networking.
work together.
Yeah, okay.
And so yesterday I drove out on 17 and 17 and a half out there, and and going down 17, going west. It was about probably about a mile and a half from 19. There was somebody must have taken a whole pickup and somebody must have been in the back of it, because it's almost a quarter-mile long, bags of trash. Some of them blew open when they threw them, and it's all the way along there. I mean, there's a whole full pickup of garbage. And I was going to tell him about it today, but you reminded me, so I mean, I couldn't believe it, man.
It's terrible.
Ellis Street is one of the worst ones too, and 26. I mean, it's everywhere. So.
I know. Max?
You know, folks, we've seen it over and over again where people dump stuff out of their cars, pickups, and whatever. Whenever I go to Fresno, I go through 15, and you can see that
Construction.
one trip, the road is clear, Avenue 15, and next time we go through there, like the chairman said, it's not that our little paper flies out. This is on purpose.
Right.
Mattresses, TVs, everything like that. So where I'm leading up to is, I'll tell you, we have to increase the fines for people that are caught doing things like this, because if they don't want to, this is their routine, this is what they do.
Right.
And perhaps we should look in the future about have mandatory garbage pickup, because that kind of takes away the material that they do otherwise. So it's just a thought, but we should look into maybe increasing the fines. Anybody caught dumping garbage from their vehicles. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you. Anthony?
Do I need to sign in? All right, my name is Anthony Duhan. I'm a resident of Madera. Do I need to do my address? Is that what it is? No, okay. Resident of Madera. I just wanted to let you guys know, so in the next 3 days, if you see people with reflective vests and orange hats going in the shadows, don't worry. That's actually going to be individuals who are volunteers for the point-in-time count, for the homeless point-in-time count. So I just wanted to say thank you, especially during the fall meeting we had for the intergovernmental meeting with the City of Chowchilla and City of Madera. There was a commitment to be part of the point-in-time count. So this year, actually, there were 70 sign-ups. And I think they said the highest they've ever had was 20. So
Wow.
we blew it out of the water. So
Yay.
I'm really excited for that, because this directly affects how much money we get in regards to grants. Because when we apply, we need to show a need. And unfortunately, some numbers sometimes have been maybe unrepresented. So I'm really excited for the next 3 days. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited to go. Apparently I'm going down in the river tonight and talk and see folks. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you guys, and just don't be alarmed. You don't have to call the police, I promise.
Are they counting up eastern Madera County too?
Yes, they are. Yeah, so they're having a magnet program up there, so they're going to be providing food and also, I believe hygiene kits, and they're going to be. I'm trying to I believe aggregate as many people as possible there. But yeah, that is something that we do need to improve on in regards to the eastern Madera. It's a little harder to find them there.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Linda Deneen. My business name is Deneen Drafting and Design, and I live in Fresno. I'm an architectural designer, and I have been in business for 40 years. I do custom homes and room additions all over the state of California. I'm here representing Floyd and Sheila Mars. They're in their 80s. They live in the Ranchos at 12233 Road 36 and a half. Mrs. Mars has cancer, and she recently had cancer surgery at Stanford. They would be here this morning, but she had an oncologist appointment. I'm here representing them. They have an adult daughter who lives in Clovis, maintains a residence there. But because of her mother's cancer, she's finding the need to be closer to them. It's quite a drive from Clovis to Madera. And she's needing to be closer to them so that she can care for them, especially during the times when her mother is taking treatments. So I prepared a guest house, 480 square feet, within the county requirements. It's just a studio with a bathroom, and the plans were approved, stamped for permits. Now, mind you, in California, I've worked all over California, and the fees, the permit fees for this type of project, even in the expensive areas of the coast and San Francisco and LA, would be anywhere from $1,200 to $2,500 for the fees, usually for this type of project, just 480 square feet. The counterperson calculated the fees for this project, and they came to $15,538.
It's the road impact fees.
This is outrageous by anyone's estimation, and it was absolutely unbelievable. The counterperson said, yep, anything in the ranchos is $10,500 for road impact fees, and then you've got $5,000 more in permit fees. I started talking to people in various departments and different officials, and seeing if we could possibly get a waiver on this outrageous fee. Everybody was sympathetic. Everybody agreed with me, but said, well, this was enacted before my time. It was enacted in 2009, and I have no power to waive this fee. Only the Board of Supervisors has that power, and that would be you, gentlemen. These are the arguments that I heard about this. If we waive it for you, we have to waive it for everybody. My answer to that is yes. This should be waived for a 480 square foot studio. Gentlemen, no law is a good law if it has not been examined to be appropriate in all applications. Here's the truth. It is never the wrong time to do the right thing. It has to start somewhere. So another argument I heard, well, this type of structure could be rented out by somebody in the future or someone. We're trying to discourage that. This use is allowed in your zoning rules. If you're using an egregious fee to discourage people from building these type of structures, at best that's dishonest, and at worst it's an abuse of power, of your power. Someone said, well, why don't you attach it to the house? All those fees will go away if you attach it to the house. Mrs. Mars has spent years, decades, with her backyard. It is a showpiece. She has exotic plants. If we attach this to the house, much of that is going to be destroyed. What about the people before? Some other people have had to pay this fee. Yes, they have. It's been crippling to them. They had no advocate. I am standing here as an advocate and a champion, not only for the Mars family, but for those after who will need this type of facility. In case you haven't noticed, we have an aging population. And because of the need for parents to have care from their children, these type of facilities are necessary. These type of structures are necessary for them. This is a matter of life and death for this family. Time is of the essence. And this family is fighting for the life of their wife and mother. This fee makes this project undoable for this family at this present time. And if you do not change this fee, or more importantly, if you do not waive this for the Mars family, I think each one of you should be ashamed. Thank you for your time.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, first of all, since it's not agendized, we can't do anything today. I appreciate you bringing this forward. I've had quite a few calls on additions over the last 6 months, probably more than I have in the last few years in terms of this fee. There is, the fee is spread out over the entire area, mainly because there's going to be a lot of new development that is creating a huge impact to the roads, and it needs to be there. Now, applying it to everybody, like you said, for a 480 square foot studio, is that going to create the same impact that a single family residence does. I'm not sure if it does. We don't want to get too far into this because it's not agendized. We can't speak to it too much. I would like to see something come back in front of our board to look at how we apply the road impact fees to maybe infill development or additions like this, and have a separate fee for that. I don't know if there's a way to do that, but I know our staff is very capable to finding out a solution like that, and in the meantime looking at this individual case as how we can, if it's within our purview and ability to waive it, but we'd have to bring that back on a later agenda.
Dave?
Yeah, just so you know, this is the first many of us have ever heard of this.
I could tell by the looks on your faces.
Yeah, it was an isolated, apparently an isolated fee that it doesn't happen in the rest of the county, so just...
It does. It's countywide.
It's countywide.
I mean,
No.
it hasn't
It's
come to our
countywide.
attention.
That may be countywide, but there is nowhere, I'm telling you, there is nowhere else in California.
Oh, yes, there is, ma'am.
No, that does this type of fee.
Yes,
Sir,
there is, ma'am. Fresno has
it's
them,
egregious.
too.
No, I work in Fresno all the time.
I'm just telling you.
This is countywide.
Yeah.
Not
Our
familiar
road
with it.
impact fees were passed. You want to talk about it, Eric?
I was just going to give your board and the public an informational. We are in the process of updating our impact fees right now. I know that initially when we calculated the fees for single-family residents, a lot of those calculations are based on the typical 2.5 people per
House,
residence.
right.
So one of the things we certainly could do is have our consultant look more closely at these types of residences. If it's just going to be one person, maybe we could look closer at that.
Yeah, and you got to remember, too, that a lot of these, they start out that way. And the same thing as school fees. You have to pay school fees on this, too.
Yes, well, no, it's under 500 square feet.
It's what?
It's under
Under
500 square feet.
Oh, okay.
It's only
Don't have to
480, sir.
Oh, you don't? Okay, that's good.
Okay?
But trouble is, when I was on the school board, we had this same kind of a problem with small trailers and stuff. And when we passed this, for 5.5 years, we had it 2/3 down until just a year ago. So you would have saved this if it done a year ago, but because we had the fees reduced two-thirds.
Well, I don't think that's a support for this
So
fee.
we're trying to encourage people to do that, unless it was a big subdivision. They didn't get the break, just individual homes did. So we can look at this, but everybody pays countywide. It's not just down here. There's sections, like I think up there's 9,800 or something, because there's not as much impact on the roads up there as there is down here. So, and all along 99, it's all the $10,000 too. So it's all broke down. They've done a study on it 2 times since I've been on the board, since 2007, because the first time we passed this was in '07, wasn't it, Eric? Right. So, but we can look at it, and we can't make no decision on it today. So we can see what we can do later.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. I just want to remind you that time is of the essence for this poor family. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other public? Oh, Ahmad.
I'll be quick. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'd just like to give a quick update on our efforts with securing some funding for our water systems. And also to thank your board, and specifically Office Supervisor Wheeler and Frazier, for helping us with the state, problems that we've had. And you managed to smooth things out for us. And with that, as you know, most of our infrastructure is in dire need of improvement. So we're just happy to announce that currently Public Works Department has secured approximately $3.8 million for designing system improvements for 8 of our special districts. And another $7.1 million have been secured for construction in 2 districts.
Wow.
With many more construction work to come. So in addition, we are in the process of applying for state grants on behalf of 9 other districts as we speak. The county will continue to seek grants when eligible, and low-interest loans as well. Fixing all the districts, of course, takes a lot of time and effort, but we are moving forward. So I can assure you that we're heading toward the right direction, and would like to thank your board again for all the support we have. So And also, FYI, I'm working with chiefs of staff to produce a press release just to announce that good news.
That's great
Ahmad,
news.
thank you for the good information. I just, this last week at RCRC, learned that Kim Van is now the head of USDA for California Rural Development. So she was a fellow supervisor on RCRC with me for 8 years.
Right.
She told me be sure and bring project lists to her concerning water, economic development, anything for rural counties. They have funds available, so I wanted to make sure I've already told Eric Fleming that, and so we should be really looking at that. We have an end there that's unprecedented, and she's willing to help us procure projects.
And one more thing, today at the agenda, we're bringing to you 3 funding agreements for 3 districts. So,
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Moving right along here. Item 5, consent calendar. Any questions from the boards on the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
Well,
Second.
any public comments on the consent calendar? Seeing none?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Oh, no, I think Max had it, yeah.
Max is second.
Yeah.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, we're going to move into the public hearing, 10 o'clock, a little late, but we're going to do it right now. It's item number 6A.
6A, Public Works Department Capital Improvement Projects. Hearing to consider adoption of a resolution vacating segments of existing road right-of-ways on Road 12 and Avenue 24½.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Jared Carter with Public Works Department and Ahmad Al-Kayat. Sorry, this technology is a little different than I'm used to. So,
We can finally hear you.
the item before you is a hearing for consideration of a resolution to vacate segments of road on Road 12 and Avenue 24½. The item came to you in December as a resolution of intent to vacate. We have worked with the applicant and any affected owners as well as utility companies, and the resolution before you spells out some of the conditions that were agreed upon with the applicant and those parties who were involved. I'm available for any questions if you have them.
Any questions from the board? Any from the public? Come on up. Good morning.
Good morning, Supervisors. John Peterson, representing Fagundes Dairy, the applicant on this project, here to answer any questions if you have them, but I think we've worked everything out.
Yeah, I might just add something to what he was going to say, that they did work with the elementary school district as well on this, and they were pleased with the results. So,
Good.
yeah.
I think that might be.
Mr. Fagundes, come ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I sent the request for
Can you say your name and address,
Anthony
please?
Fagundes.
I'm sorry?
Anthony Fagundes.
Anthony, okay.
23435 Road 12. And I called this Hayden Hinkle, asked somebody to come out and take a look at that location so I can talk to the authorities about what might happen there. I got a situation with a high-speed rail coming down the pike, and what might be their destruction or construction or whatever, it might close another road periodically for a certain period of time. And I can pass this map around, the latest one I got from high-speed rail. If they close that road to the north, Road 12, I might not have, might cut my access to 2 roads or maybe no roads. If anybody wants to take a look at that map, this map.
I don't think they could legally landlock.
Probably wouldn't be a problem, but if they decided to choose those routes, Well, tell them what they're going to do. I know you guys probably don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, it's up in the air. They
Yeah.
can't legally landlock you, though. They have to provide you with ingress and egress to your parcel, and they're going to we'll hold their feet to that.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's still a hardship in the meantime. What are they
Sure.
going to do?
Sure.
And,
It clouds it.
you know, I know that road's been open for 100 years. I don't know what the hurry is, but,
Right.
and everybody's been using their systems as they do today, and I sure would like to see it hang on for a while till we find out what's going on with the rail. That's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, were you trying to get, you said authorities to come out and look at it. Were you talking
I
about
called
the
this guy
county?
that
or-
sent me this letter here, public information, and his name Hayden Hinkle. I told him I would like to talk to somebody out there in the field. Well, evidently through communication with the neighbors there, he came out and talked to the people that were submitted the application to close it. I never got a call back or a visit from any of those guys.
Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, Supervisor. So Hayden Hinkle is our engineering technician that was handling this vacation process, and he did speak with Mr. Fagundes. And our understanding in talking to the applicant is that they had worked out and discussed the issues amongst themselves and come to an agreement on moving forward with the process. So as far as our understanding is, everything was worked out. We did look at the concerns that Mr. Fagundes brought to us as far as access and what was described to Hayden, and essentially the access point across, I believe it was Road 12 going north. From what we have in our system, there is no legal crossing over the river at that point. It's actually on Road 13, which we're not affecting by this vacation. So,
Okay.
I'd like to ask staff to be plugged in with Mr. Fagundes on his situation with high-speed rail and access to his parcel.
Make sure
I think
we're on
that's an
top of it.
important situation, and we need to stay engaged with him and high-speed rail to make sure he has satisfaction in that area.
Nobody from that department has contacted me. Maybe my neighbors or my employees, but not me.
we're definitely going to be on top of the high-speed rail situation. As you mentioned before, Supervisor Rogers, we don't know exactly what the layouts are at this point and exactly how it's going to affect the roads. But we certainly, in any case, when any of those kind of things come through, you're absolutely right. We have to protect the land, and we cannot have any kind of landlocked situations, and providing all the access that needs to be there. So
I think we've had a pretty good lesson on Club Drive of how inept high-speed rail has been in their approach to public ingress, egress, and closing Road 27 the way they did. It's been an abysmal process, and the situation has been just unacceptable. So we don't want that to happen to Mr. Fagundes or any other resident in anywhere, any place.
Right.
In Forsyth, maybe it might be good for me, too. I have kids, grandkids going across there, employees, cattle, but I didn't know we can close a road. And like I said, nobody come out and discussed it with me. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr.
Anthony.
Fagundes. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
Is
Bring
this
it back to the board?
Is this his map?
Yeah.
You might want it back.
What's your pleasure, board?
I move to approve the vacation.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes.
And
5-0.
just make a note on there that we want to make sure that our staff and everybody is on top of it to make sure that the high-speed rail does not cut anybody off, not
Right.
only him, but anybody.
Right.
Thank you. Okay.
Now that you guys voted in favor of closing that road, so if I want to go through the procedures of closing from my point to 152, that'd be no problem?
You got to go through the process.
Yeah.
I understand that. We'll have
Yeah,
the same
start the
result?
process.
Yeah.
Okay.
You bet.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay, regular session now, item 7A.
7A, Board of Supervisors Department, District Number 3. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution certifying that Madera County has eligible matching funds for the project and authorizing the county administrative officer or its designee to submit an application for Land and Water Conservation Fund Grant-in-Aid Program Assistance, conduct all negotiations, and submit and execute all related grant documents.
All right, how's it going? My name is Anthony Duhan. I am Chief of Staff for District 3, Supervisor Rob Poitras. And today we also have Tristan Champ. I believe are you the General Grants Manager?
Grant Services Manager.
Grant Services Manager. And also with us today is we also have the Chairman of the Courthouse Park Restoration Committee, Tom Kidwell, as well. So so do I need to just I see. Okay. There you go. There you go. Everyone look behind the man, behind the... Perfect. And all right, so we're here today to talk about the Courthouse Park and a grant that we were able to come across, especially with the new grants manager. So I guess a little bit of history. So I did a little bit of sleuthing yesterday because unfortunately, a lot of the history of it is before my time. I'm a little young. So like I said, for Courthouse Park, it is not too far from us. It's on Yosemite, the corner of Yosemite and Gateway. Like I said, the land originally was purchased in 1909 due to vision by William Heiskell, and it was opened in 1929. So apparently at that time, there was hopes that they wanted to have a miniature Golden Gate Park. And there were claims that it was considered one of the most beautiful and most equipped little county parks in the United States. So it's pretty interesting. The 1964 article that I saw right next to it, funny enough, was actually an article about how Madera County needs water storage. I thought that was pretty humorous, but I digress. Unfortunately, if you guys have been passing it, Unfortunately, the Courthouse Park does not have the same glamour as it used to be. Before, Mr. Heiskell, he had, they had exotic animals and pets, and a lot of them were actually his personal pets when it became a zoo, and a lot of children were able to come. But unfortunately, since I've been in Madera all 26 years, unfortunately, there's been a different perception of Courthouse Park. There's been, either some people say, oh, it's Old Man's Park, or, oh, that's a park that I'm not allowed to go to because they, there are people there, things of that sort. So with that, in April, there were actually these talks about the Madera Arts Council was planning on doing having these little meetings, these little forums, and kind of hearing about what they want to see for this upcoming arts complex and also in downtown in general. So luckily, it's kind of nice where they're actually doing the work for me, where I was able to go there and actually hear about some of the thoughts, specifically on the Courthouse Park. So originally, a lot of times everyone was saying about the Courthouse Park was that there was this ugly peach building, and I didn't know what they were talking about. And I finally realized it was actually the jail annex. So this last year, I was very excited to hear that there was money allocated for the demolition of this said Courthouse Park. We'll wait for that. Oh, sorry, I'm going back. So of the said Courthouse Park. So I was really excited about that. So then, this past year, we actually had the addition of Tristan to our organization, and he informed me of this grant where we would actually possibly be able to leverage the money that we already had appropriated and allocated to then use it as our own match for this project. So this will allow us to be able to have more and be able to actually hopefully have a playground as well. So I feel like this is a fiscally responsible decision to be able to, especially leverage the money that we already had allocated to then be able to get us more in the project overall. So last year, around April, this is annoying. We decided to have a little poll. So we reached out to those in the area in Madera County, and we had 284 independent individuals respond. So, unfortunately, the first thing was, how often do you visit Courthouse Park? Yeah, so you see in the red right there, that is actually once or twice a year. And from especially a lot of the notes that people are talking about, the only times they ever do visit, if they do, because blue is 109 people saying that they just never visit, is during the Old Timers Day Parade and things of that sort, and the various events. But that's unfortunately the only time. And then the next question we asked, why don't you visit Courthouse Park more often? And resoundingly, there's two things that I feel that were important. Was there's nothing to do in the park, and two, I do not feel safe taking my family to the park. And that is something that's kind of really affected me, because especially growing up, we were driving by that. This is something that was the original heart of Madera, the city of Madera, and also Madera County. Whoa.
$10.
Well, that's great.
Oh, okay.
So especially considering this is something that is the
$10.
county's, I feel like that there's something that we need to make sure that we are ensuring that there is a safe park for individuals, and also our staff is there as well. Like I said, EC 35 said it's too far to live. It is too far from where I live, and 59 says there's nowhere to park. So then my last question was, what would encourage you to visit Courthouse Park more often? So resoundingly, they were just saying more events. So more events like farmers markets and weekend activities. We are working on that. We are excited in the idea that our new website is going to be coming out, and I think we're hoping to be able to have more availability to allow access for people to be able to rent it and also know about events that are going on in Courthouse Park. And the second one, that's kind of where my mind started kind of rolling, was install a playground for children. So one thing is making this more our goal is to make it a more family-friendly park. That's because I guess when you say when there's darkness, I guess light always overcomes darkness. And I think with that, laughter and children are always going to overcome any kind of things that are going on. And I think that's going to be the first step for us to be able to create a catalyst to be able to see change in that area. Yeah, so aside from those, there were some interesting ones. They said they want to take down a few trees to create an area for play soccer. That was 14 votes. Have food trucks in the park. I'm open to exploring that. Need more ethnic and diverse events. Definitely, we definitely agree with that. And 9 people just didn't think so, didn't get anything, or at a coffee shop or a building to meet. So now we're going to go to Tristan. He is the guru of all things grants, and he's been very helpful. And we wouldn't even be here if he wasn't here right now, because there's no way that I would have been able to been as organized and kind of keeping things rolling without him.
Wow, rock star.
All right, well,
Oh, Jimmy, pass this out.
yeah, go ahead and pass those out. I'm passing out just a little summary sheet on the Land and Water Conservation Fund, as well as just kind of a cost breakdown of our proposed project. And the Land and Water Conservation Fund, this is a grant that's it's actually federal funding from the National Park Service that's channeled through the California Department of Parks and Recreation. And the Land and Water Conservation Fund has been around for a long time, I think since the Kennedy administration. And its whole goal is to really get people outdoors and participating in outdoor recreation. And that's most easily done through either park acquisition of land for parks or development of existing park space or existing land into parks. And so I mean, this is the Parks Grant. It's probably one of the best funding opportunities out there. It comes out on usually about every other year. What does it fund? I mean, its priorities are creating a new park within half a mile of underserved communities. It funds expansion of existing parks to increase the ratio of park acreage for communities. It funds renovating existing or creating new facilities in parks, providing community space for healthy lifestyles, children's play areas, environmental justice, cultural activities, etc. And not so much on the wetlands part here for our thing, but again, if we were to use this funding opportunity to develop an existing park, I mean, we can fund everything from playgrounds, restroom buildings, community gardens, outdoor performing arts venues, picnic areas, playgrounds and tot lots, skate parks, pretty much you name it in terms of park infrastructure, and this grant will more than likely fund it. So in my previous employment, I'd written this grant a number of times, including once a couple years ago for the city of Chowchilla, and it was funded. Based on that, I mean, I see no reason why Madera County can't get it for Courthouse Park, and because we're looking again at similar demographics, and it's a good fit, and this grant's a good fit for kind of what we wanted to do. So how we intend to use this grant funding, as Anthony mentioned earlier, the county already had about $157,000 allocated for demolition of that jailhouse annex building, but there really wasn't a plan for what to put in that area afterwards. And so our thought was to use this grant to help fund the demolition of that building, and then the basically the construction of new park infrastructure. And we kind of went with a little bit of a smaller type project. We could apply for up to $3 million, but instead our project is going to be around a little over $200,000. But anyways, that would cover, or that would be the grant funding. The county would have to have a 50% match, which the jailhouse, those allocated funds would help cover. And so with the remaining funding, what we would do is we proposed putting in a playground structure, because again, that was something that the community had indicated high priority. A picnic shelter, I know there's already an existing one there, but this would be another one, a smaller one with tables. There would be exercise stations throughout the park. We discussed possible restroom renovations and park lighting, and just other paving and obviously the rubber flooring under the playground. Those types of improvements that would go at least occupy part of the space where the former jail annex building was. And so, so this is the map. Just kind of, it's a little bit crude of the project area. You can see where the courthouse park is, and the red line that that indicates more or less the park boundaries. You can see the jail annex building, and then we would be proposing. I don't know the mouse. Yeah, you can see the mouse. We would be proposing the. I can't select. Oh well.
Remember the time?
The play area that would take place right back in. It would be kind of in this sort of the northeastern, that section of the building there.
It's right in the center.
It's crazy to see how big it is when looking at it from above.
But
perspective of the park. Yeah.
Anyways, this is. We reached out to a vendor, and they were able to do this for free. They give us kind of a basic site plan. You would have the playground area with benches and some other play features. This would be the picnic shelter next to it. There would be some new concrete pathways and padding. This kind of dotted line area would be like the rubber padding under the playground. So that this is more of a three-dimensional picture of what the playground might look like. Again, we didn't want something that would be all one of those like bright, funky, multicolored things. We wanted something that was a little bit more muted colors that would blend in with the existing park landscape, the historical building next door, and something like with the trees and stuff that would just reflect a little bit of the character of the local area. And again, this isn't finalized. This is conceptual drawing, but it's something that they came up with, and that's just the other side of another view of the play structure. And again, that's just, it's a little hard to see, but down in here you can kind of see an outline, again, where the playground would be and where the picnic shelter and tables would be in relation to the existing structure. And so it still gives us, by demolishing that whole structure, even though the playground's only going to occupy really it's about a quarter of that space, it still gives, I know that the Arts Council and other groups have some more long-range plans about what they'd like to do in this area, and this still gives room for future improvements.
I just wanted to add, one thing that was very important for us was making sure that we had community involvement. So we had been working with the Courthouse Park Restoration Committee quite a bit. One of the nice things about the Restoration Committee is that they have somebody from, Rotary, have somebody from Lions, have somebody from the Historical Society, have somebody from the board with Mr. Poitras. So with that, we also did have community meetings as well. So we did have 2 community meetings. One was on December 21st, and then the last one we just had actually was this last week on January 18th. So with that, we did have individuals from the museum and also just individuals who were just interested in what's going on and frustrated, especially some people who were just on Ice Street said, I don't feel safe yet, So those are things that we're going to do. But we wanted to make sure that we have buy-in from those individuals. And one of the nice things is I'm really excited about this because this obviously is not a big project, but it's a project that's going to be getting us going in the right direction because we are working on this. There's plans for this in this art complex. I don't know when that's going to be, but we do know one thing, that we can start making changes now and be able to see that being affected, be able to help that. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys are as well. Do you have any questions?
You're going to do the budget?
Excuse me?
Okay, you was going to go over that budget?
Yes. Oh, did he? Yeah. So the second page, it was an itemized budget that he went over. So overall, you know, if you want to go over that.
We got some questions up here anyway, so.
Yeah. Okay.
We're
It
starting.
kind of does with the budget. I can see these numbers here. I am excited. I think it's a great start. Obviously, it's not a huge footprint, but the impact that it would have would be noticeable pretty quickly, because it'd be a nice, clean place for kids to play, even if they're at the new courthouse, and could come across after and whatever. It's just great. That always brings families in. I've seen with the new parks that have gone out, 12 and 41, that they're a draw from, people are driving there to come and play on the parks, and I'm a huge proponent of open green space and what it does for a community, and that should be where people meet. And if you have the different events that go down there, and then people come in, instead of it having to be a bouncy house that comes in, they just have a built-in playground. That will make people want to come down to those events more, because their kids have something to do while they're going and buying stuff at the farmer's market. So I think it fits perfectly, and it quite frankly takes away an eyesore there. And I like that you looked at something more muted, something that even though it's going to be hard plastic, it has a tie to our lumber or our timber heritage down there, so it still has that feel of Madera. But all of this is for naught if we can get the money for the improvements if we don't have the ongoing operations and maintenance to keep these up and make sure that they're clean and safe for families to play on. Because once your kid cuts themselves on a rusty playground equipment, you never go back, right? So we need to make sure, one, do we have the safety aspect of keeping Courthouse Park safe ongoing, as well as keeping up these infrastructure costs that we're going to put into. I just want to make sure that we're still taking care of that, so that it's not we just had a good idea one time and then it looks dilapidated later on. Yeah.
Max?
Well, next time.
All of them got questions.
Anthony, as far as the City Council, City of Madera did a beautiful thing over at their youth center. They built a children's play area over there, and I'll tell you what, it is used by tiny little kids, parents that they don't work, they have their kids, they have time, they're driving them over there, and that little playground is always full, always full. As far as the jail annex, that has to be removed. When the council had their series of meetings, number one, where they checked off was get rid of that building there. It's ugly. And if you have that playground there and the parents are there, I think what's going to happen, if you use past experiences, the homeless, and will start, they won't go there as much as they do now, because you'll see more people there with their kids, their children, and I think they'll take care of that problem to a certain extent. I've always had a dream that having a walkway from the park over to the courthouse over 6th Street, beautiful walkway. Yeah, cool. So you could walk over and you could stand there and watch the park, watch the courthouse. But that's in the future, though. Those are my thoughts. But we can do a lot in that park. We have cleaned it up. We cut some of the old trees, the dry trees. More trees are being planted, and we encourage people, if they want to invest on a tree. It's not cheap. It's $400 or $500 for a good-sized tree to plant there at the courthouse, but it's a start. And years ago, they had alligators and stuff down there, live alligators, And
they didn't bite you?
It didn't bite me, no. But anyway, I think you guys are going to the right path, direction. And I certainly think that this board is going to support you.
Yeah. Rob?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to have Supervisor Frazier's, like to see him get an answer for his question.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Yeah.
In response, the answer to both questions is yes. We do have maintenance that's very capable. We have a very good maintenance crew. They already maintain the park. The equipment's going to be very safe, and it'll be maintained well. And we also have enhanced security out there, which I think we put in place about a year or so ago, and that continues. We continue to fund that as well. So.
And then also just a little note, I have kind of floated this by the mayor as well as a couple council members, and they are open, and that's the thing that obviously is going to happen later, but we are open to figure out how we can be partnering together, because, you know, we are kind of like become like almost like the island, county island of amongst cities. So how are we going to make sure that we're working together, because they are invested just as much to make sure that we are seeing downtown growth and restoration. So we are hoping to see. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to see a tax agreement, but I'm not going to say that yet. But
Rob,
there's a lot going into that one right now.
Yeah, let's see that.
Rob's got the floor.
Then the other thing I was going to say, how appropriate it is in our 125th year to be looking at this restoration.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. You know, here we got our new logo. It's got the courthouse right in the heart of it, and I think it's just a great thing. And what I like to do right now, you know, because a lot has already been said, I don't want to repeat the obvious, but I like to thank the chairman of our Courthouse Restoration Park Committee, Tom Kidwell. He spent many hours. He's very disciplined, very dedicated in organizing the meetings and getting members there. So I want to thank you so much. And the others, Anthony and Tristan and all those people who have stepped up and are going to continue to be involved in this effort. So thank you guys so much. And it looks like a great opportunity.
Perfect. Yep.
All right, good. Dave.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. You're always plugged in. That's awesome. The thought that comes to my mind is also like master gardeners and a space for them to do something that would be extraordinary in terms of flora and fauna, and you know, and then the Arts Council, maybe something on the lines of multiple spaces that could be utilized to showcase sculpture or whatever, art in many different forms. So all of those things could be utilized to make this a place of interest. And I think it's important that it reflects not only on the city but on the county in terms of what we are and what we want to do excellently. And this is the seat of the county. So when I think of that, I think of Sacramento. You know, when you go to Sacramento, they have that park around the state capitol, and they have trees from all over the state, you know, and various things that are going on there. But it's a beautiful area, and it's exceptional, and people run in that area.
Even more exceptional.
And we could do that there, and I believe getting rid of that building is going to be a great start, because the more spaces you have like that where people can hide and do things that are wrong, that's what's really generating that. And I think the lighting is an important element, because you can shed light on that as well, and it eliminates that kind of behavior as well. So people don't like the light at night that are doing wrong, because it exposes them. So thank you. You're heading in the right direction.
Yeah. Plus, Love Where You Live is going to do the litter pickup there.
Yeah. Also on the 21st for Love Madera, we are meeting at the Courthouse Park.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Anyway, hey, it's my turn. Everybody quit talking. I can push the buttons. Anyway, great idea, and I think that, you know, you guys, Tom always does a great job, and has been, even when he was working for us, he did all that. But maybe it's a good time to try to get where somebody was, I think it was Rob said something about somebody taking care of the trees, or Max, I don't know which one, but if we could maybe have somebody have a program to adopt the trees, somebody take care of each tree with their name on it. Also get the clubs, you know, Rotary, Kiwanis, and Elks, to maybe adopt the playground equipment or the stage there, you know, and have them. This is like our Oakhurst Park. the Rotary has the stage there, and they take care of that. They build it and they take care of it. So if we could go out and get some of these clubs to do that too, not only enhance what we're getting, but help it. And then, I was going to ask Eric, how much money have we got set aside already to take that building, all that down? Is that part of this 206, or is that?
Yes, sir. It's a big portion of it. I think it was $157,000 that your board had already approved and set aside.
To set it,
So,
okay.
in addition, we have to add $49,000 from contingency just to show that we have the 50%.
Okay. Well, I just want to I thought if we had that, wasn't part of that, I would like to add it, maybe go for more money, so, but that's okay. I mean, that's,
Doing
you got
pretty
that
good.
set aside.
That's doubling what we
Right.
Yeah.
before.
My goal was, I mean, through the
Essentially
grant,
getting that for-
the way the matching system works, it's a little weird, but you have to demonstrate that you can fund 100% of the project from your own funding, so from the county's funding, and then the state will give us 50% of that. And so even though we can apply for up to $3 million in grant funding, that would be a $6 million grant project, and while that would do wonders for the park, it's, the county, I know the county doesn't have that kind of money
Yeah.
sitting around. And
We
so
could deplete our
we went with
reserve.
we went with a little bit more of a scaled back project to start with.
Right.
And in my experience with the grant, I've seen it, a lot of the awards wind up in about approximately the $500,000 range. Maybe a little
Absolutely.
smaller, maybe a little larger, but
And once you get that first step going too, then all these other people, like I say, start getting in too and getting their own grants and stuff. There's a lot of ways to do it. Tom, do you have something to say?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Kidwell, Madera County Memorial Courthouse Park Restoration Committee Chair. I believe you have a letter in front of you that demonstrates our support for this project. Mr. Chairman, you've outlined our business plan perfectly. I'm an opportunist. Every time an opportunity presents itself and somebody is willing to give me money, I say, please, thank you very much.
Right, exactly.
Your question about security and the maintenance, maintenance has been ongoing. The county has staff that adequately takes care of that and has done so for years. And frankly, the Sunrise Rotary has made it a point of accepting donations of playground equipment that's no longer needed and delivering it to Mexico. Every year they make that trip, and I don't think there would be any problem with asking the service clubs to continue to help make and maintain this equipment if that indeed proved to be a problem, but I don't think it will. And I have to encourage this because I've been involved and played in the park since 1963. And people say they're afraid to go in the park. I've never had that experience, but I can understand their concern. And the problem is because not enough people use the park to where the undesirables, if you will leave, with one exception that I can cite for everyone. And that is, I've been in with the Boy Scouts, and that's when I started playing in the park. Was every evening after the meeting, we'd go over there, play ditch 'em, capture the flag, what have you, and without concern. And every year, my Boy Scout troop would camp out in the park to guard the avenue of flags that goes up on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And I guarantee you, when the troop is there, the people that you don't want there disappear. They're not going to mess with the kids. And if there's a parent who's watching their kid in the playground and somebody comes over and tries to hassle them, I guarantee you they're not going to have any hair, let alone a head.
Right, exactly.
If they want to get in the way of that. This is the best thing that could possibly happen. I don't think anybody's going to object to the removal of the jail annex. We've been working on it for years. It is a jail. It's full of cells. What are you doing with it? There's nobody living there. So, I'm sorry I'm taking up too much of your time.
It's okay.
If you have any
It's an
questions.
important deal.
It's not haunted, right, the jail?
I'm sorry?
The jail's not haunted?
If you want to spend the night and figure it out, I don't know.
I'm good.
I had one more question.
Yeah.
And I know Tom's probably plugged into this as well as you guys. When I talk about like master gardeners, I've seen in some parks where they had like a small hothouse built and really a nice situation where people could go through and observe stuff. Have you maybe talked with them about possibly including that in this grant and them funding that, the match part of it, or somebody being willing to match that part?
This isn't a discussion on cannabis.
No.
Mr. Supervisor, that issue has been raised.
Yeah.
And I will simply point out that if you look at the monument on the corner of Yosemite and Gateway, the Southeast Garden Club is listed as one of the major donors. They have been involved in the past. That
Great.
is faded, but
Great.
it can be reinstated, I'm sure. And Master Gardeners, anyone with an interest and love of the county who's willing to help. As I say, I'm an opportunist. I'll take it. Anything I can get.
I mean, that would be a great one, really.
Okay, there you go. PIQs.
All right, and
Great
two
thing to
notes,
advertise.
two more
here.
notes really fast, just also...
Quick, we got to open this to the
Absolutely.
public.
So we are working with Master Gardeners already in regards to also trees. We are hoping to figure out that we're going to have drought-resistant trees. We already do have 10 trees that we've purchased, but we're waiting to figure out the timing, the best timing, and also in regards to that, we are hoping in this year to actually work on, as the committee, to work on a master plan, because, we want to make sure that whatever we do now and wherever we place things are sustainable and they continue with growth. So those are
Okay.
we
Okay.
hear.
Anybody from the public have anything to say on this? Bring it back
Chairman, I
to
make a
board.
motion for approval.
Second.
First and second, roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, item 7B.
7B, County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division, establishment of vacation cash-out program and adoption of side letters. 1, discussion and consideration to adopt the side letters of agreement with the correctional officer, dispatcher, postgraduate licensed professional, and probation administrators bargaining units to establish a vacation cash-out program effective March 2018. 2, discussion and consideration to adopt the side letters of agreement with the peace officer and peace officer management bargaining units to establish a modified vacation cash payout program effective March 2018. 3, discussion and consideration to extend the terms of the side letters of agreement and recommended action number 1 to eligible and current unrepresented employees to establish a vacation cash-out program effective March 2018.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Adrienne Caleb reporting this morning. This is actually a program that's been in the making for quite some time. We've been approached by bargaining units for a number of years about establishing this program, and the actions before you today are the official actions needed to establish the program. The details of the program are outlined in the board letter as well as the side letters that are attached to the item. But the one thing that I want to highlight in my oral presentation today is the fact that whenever an employee leaves county service, we have to pay out those vacation hours. Labor Code 227.3 requires that we pay out those hours, and we have to pay out those hours at the current rate of their pay, not at the rate that the hours were accrued. So this program is actually a long-term cost savings measure for the county, and we anticipate that a number of employees will participate in the program, and our hope is that the employees will help us buy down our future liability. And I'm open for any questions from you. No?
Any questions from the board? Any from the public? What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's a tie.
Second.
Still a tie.
Second.
I was
Okay.
fast with them both.
Roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adrian. 7C.
7C, Sheriff Coroner's Department, discussion and consideration of approval to fill the Sheriff Public Information Officer at the D step effective January 1, 2018.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a second? Any public comment? You got anything to say, Mr. J?
Oh, it doesn't have to do with this item, Mr. Chairman, so I probably shouldn't say it. But I found it interesting that it sounds like Max said there used to be alligators over in the park, so it sounds like you guys have already drained that swamp.
Well played.
If you need an escort at the end of your meeting, I will stand by and watch you safely back.
Oh,
I've had some white cars following me.
Any other people from the public got anything to say on this? Seeing none?
Call for
Roll
the
call.
vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, pending legislation. We got any legislation anybody's wanting? Seeing none, supervisors and staff reports. Rob?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Fresno Madera Agency on Aging that I'm a member of, unfortunately, we have 4 representatives that private citizens that are on the committee, and all 4 no longer serve, and so we're looking for those. I'm working to gather some names and approaching folks to serve on that committee. If anybody has any...
Any district or anything?
Yeah, it could be countywide.
Okay.
Yeah. So please, if you've got some names or...
Send a little memo out or something. Have
Okay.
Anthony so we can...
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Max?
I attended RCRC this last week and the JPA for Temperance Flat. And regardless of what the press is saying right now about Temperance Flat, it's not over till it's over. And the fact is that while the staff of the Water Commission has been obstructionist the entire time, they listen more to the NRDC than they do to the board itself. And it's a shame that water project bond funds are not going to be used for water projects. I mean, that just blows my mind. And what they consider public benefit, let me tell you folks, they don't include groundwater recharge in that. And I just find that unconscionable. But that's the entire purpose of the project. And it's very, very likely that Temperance Flat will be built with or without the state. And I would say it's probably going to be better off if it's built without the state.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm
sorry. I'm going down that line.
Just an update on the San Joaquin River Conservancy, the Eaton Trail EIR that went out. The time period has lapsed for anybody to challenge it legally, and no one brought forward a lawsuit. So even though it was very contentious, that no one filed anything on it. So we should be having a good access point. Madera County always had our access point that led into it, but it should be connected to Fresno and start putting our San Joaquin River, that's a benefit for a whole area, really on the map, and not just putting our backs to it and acting like it doesn't exist there. So I think that was an important thing to note. Thought you guys would want to know that.
Absolutely. Okay, a couple of things. I should have done it at the public hearing time. Starting in February, all of our public hearings will be at 11 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. And so all our staff is, when they put out the public notices now, they will do it, because we never really, the way we do everything now is the closed session before we start. It kind of makes it hard to do it at 10 o'clock, so we're all public hearing from now on to be at 11 o'clock. Next week's board meeting is canceled, so our next board meeting is January the 30th, and they'll be here also. And I just wanted to thank some of our crews they took some really dangerous trees down on Road 226 the other day. I don't know when they done it. And
January 30th is canceled.
No. No, January 30th is canceled. February 6th is our next meeting.
Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not what it says in my thing here.
Robert Jeffers.
Okay, January 30th is canceled, so our next meeting is February 6th. That's right. Boy, this month went by fast. Woo!
Yes, it has.
Okay. And that'll still have 11 o'clock public hearings. But I want to thank a bunch of our crews. Our water system, I had 2 or 3 people complain about it over the weekend. Muhammad actually answered me on Sunday and said they were going to be up there first thing yesterday, and then taking those dead trees down. And I just want to thank everybody. So we're going to go ahead and go into closed session right now and get it done, because we only got a couple more items. Huh? We're done. Oh, we don't have no more? I thought we had one more.
We'll push, where there was one item we can push to the 6th.
Oh. It can
It's
go
up to
through
your
the
board,
30th?
yeah.
I mean, to the 6th?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You sure? Okay.
Yes.
Well, then, I move to adjourn.
Good, very good. Great job, 11:30.
Hey, I almost tied your record.